What is up, YouTube? This is Ryan with Rogue Ocean Gaming. I'm going to pause our normal introduction real quick, and I'm going to get in the Delorean. I'm going to set it for 88 miles an hour, and I'm going to drive into the lightning storm. Here's what we're looking at today. I'm a man who grew up in the 80s. So I had the Nintendo, I had the Double Dragons, I had the Contra, the old beat-em-up games, Bad Dudes. I played them, and I loved them. The thing is they've kind of gone away. So today we're going to be taking a peek at a game that is going to take you back to those style of games. This is called Devil's Dare, and it comes from the secret base. Literally, I'm probably going to get in trouble for talking about it, but anyways, the game is Devil's Dare. You get 3 other guys on a couch, you get a case of beer, a large pizza, and you hand out some controllers. This is a old school beat 'em up style game that actually is kind of a parody of the 80s and 90s. You're going to see a lot of characters in here that are going to bring back memories as a child. You're going to see aliens, you're going to see all kinds of stuff. You're going to see stuff from Final Fantasy. If you're a real video game nerd and you can catch all the Easter eggs in this game, I tell you what, you're way smarter than me, because after talking to Raymond, I learned there's even more than what we noticed, and I had 3 pretty nerdy guys here playing with me. So the game is Devil's Dare. The idea of it is you are 4 people, they each different walks of life, people with different abilities, different skill traits. You basically just go through, and it's like I said, I can't hammer this point home enough. It is an old school beat 'em up game. You just run across, bad guys come in, you beat them up. At the end, you get to a boss. You all got to work cooperatively together. The game is a lot of fun, and I emphasize that you need to get 3 other people playing this thing. If you just play through by yourself, you're going to go, it's just another one of these games. But if you play with 3 people, I guarantee you're going to have a fun time. The game is challenging, difficult. The difficulty is challenging in this game. It's not something you can just walk through and smash up and win. And it's, rarely do you play a game that when you turn it on and you start playing, you go back to when you were a kid. And you're plugged in, Double Dragon, you plugged in, one of those games, and you sit there with your brother, and you're laughing, you're screaming at each other, coming up with strategies. This game is that game in entirety. So basically what you do, it's kind of like you're at a Comic-Con, kind of a nerdy thing, and then all of a sudden some monsters attack. You're going to see, I don't want to spoil too many of the Easter eggs, but you're going to see a lot of different types of monsters based on the level that you go into. So there's a lot of time. These guys put a lot of effort into making an honest tribute to what we all had when we were growing up. And, the age group that this game is designed for is all ages. Even if you don't recognize the parodies or the imitations that are put into the game, you're still going to have a lot of fun playing it. So this is Devil's Dare. We're interviewing Raymond. He's all the way from Singapore. He stayed up all night just to talk to us at a convenient time for our time. He wanted to get this interview out. He's a great guy. I've had a blast getting to know him. Pez had a great time. They've talked quite a bit more than me because I've been working on the Let's Play videos. But here's our interview. This is Devil's Dare. It's coming out on Steam on the 21st. If you guys enjoy local co-op games, please give this game a shot. It's pretty fun. If you get the people on your couch. So here's the interview. Here's some of the gameplay. We don't want to give away too much, so it's going to be kind of a shorter video. That's per Secret Base's request, and I'm not going to mess with the development studio called Secret Base. I just don't know what they're up to. I know at a lot of Secret Bases there's aliens, and you all know what aliens like to do to big white guys. So, guys, gals, Secret Base, check it out. Get a couch, get 4 controllers, get a computer, and play this. It's a lot of fun. Enjoy it. We sure did.
Hey everyone, Pez of Doom here with the developer interview part of our video. Today we have the founder of Secret Base, Ray, better known as Rayteoactive, here to talk about Devil's Dare and some of the decisions that went into designing the game. Ray, let's start off by talking about what affects players the most, characters and game mechanics. The characters are very unique in this game, but they seem to be a nod back to a lot of older games that we've played or gamers have played over the years. Where did you get a lot of the inspiration for each of the characters, and which one is your favorite?
When I first designed the game, my original concept was that there's going to be 4 different characters, and each one of them will be coming out. They will be a parody of a different beat 'em up. But eventually, I think the idea evolved, and I thought that it would actually be more interesting if we have characters that are not exactly from beat 'em up, which is why you have one of the guy. The guy with the sword, he is actually a parody of Link from Legend of Zelda, and then there's the girl on the giant robot. She's actually a parody of Terra from Final Fantasy VI. Yeah, I think it's more interesting in the sense when you actually you don't actually get to see the Magitech running around and fighting in action in the original game, but over here when we are doing a beat them up, I think it's more interesting when you actually have them doing all the tricks that you get to do in a beat them up instead.
Where did you come up with the concept for like the different monsters in your game?
The monsters mostly based on different horror movies. So we wanted to do something like where we split them up in the sense where the players are all parodies of video games, while the monsters are parodies of horror movies. So we did a lot of research. We went and looked through a lot of the movies, horror movies in the 90s, and then we picked the one that are the most iconic. From there on, we try to differentiate out which are the ones that we want as boss, as the other ones, which are the ones that is like maybe the smaller one. They will probably end up being some of the minions that you will fight. But when we first designed the game, we thought that we just gonna have zombies and there will be a lot of them, and we're gonna have the ones that you always see, like the fast zombie, the normal zombies, and then there's the fat zombies. And eventually we sort of realized that in multiplayer mode, it doesn't work as well. So what happens is that the players, when players come together and they start playing, like maybe 3 players or 4 players, they get extremely agitated by the game, and they get reckless, with your friend playing with you and all that kind of stuff, right? So they are not so afraid of the zombies anymore. So the game become easier. So what we had to do was that instead of just adding more zombies, we actually have more monsters with different variety of action, which is why you start to see, like, this is a bit of a spoiler, but you start to see things like Facehugger, or you see Chucky. These are zombies these are monsters that will actually jump at you, or maybe some of them will start throwing projectiles at you. So these little stuff actually force the player to move around in the game. So if you're playing in like 3 or 4 players, and subconsciously you guys will start moving in formation, or you guys will have different roles for each other. And when you have monsters that actually attack you from range or have a weird or different behavior, people will start to move around, and there is a chance that you will mess up your formation and you might get hit. So that's one of the reasons why we added the variety. Another thing that you mentioned was the boss. About the boss, one of the ideas is that we wanted the parody to be, it's not just gonna be like, oh, this Terminator, that guy's the alien. We wanted it to be multiple parody as much as we can squeeze into one. So we look into the 90s, and if you were to look at it, a lot of other games from NES or Sega Genesis. So back then, a lot of games were actually trying to have characters that look like a certain movie character, or even for the manga, for example, like Frieza from Dragon Ball, look, especially the Form 2, if you're familiar with it, it looks pretty much like the aliens from the Alien movie. So we want to make fun of that, which is why if you were to look at the alien, for example, it looks a bit like it does look a bit like the alien from Aliens, and at the same time it looks a bit like Frieza from Dragon Ball. So we want to make fun of the whole 90s in general, I guess.
Okay, so my next question for you is, when you made the game, you were saying you refer back to the 90s a lot. Were you aiming for an older target audience, or are you kind of hoping that the younger people are gonna to catch the parodies from the 90s?
Yeah, so that's one of the things. Like we at first, the main audience was maybe a slightly older generation, people in our age, like maybe in the early 30s or whatever. But we also wanted young players to be able to catch up with the game. So I think the pop culture reference, they most likely still able to get it. We have most of our playtesters, we did our playtesting at school. So a lot of the playtesters are actually people students in their 18, 19 or early 20s. One of the things that we did for the game design wise is that we try to make sure that the game is the control is actually simple enough, which is why I think you see we have very limited buttons. We have the running button, direction button, and other than that, it's just gonna be like the attack button and the special key, which we got the idea from Super Smash Brothers. So in this case, that the execution for the move is actually much simpler. I think beat 'em up eventually got so complicated that in the later games you actually have to pull off like Street Fighter move, like a quarter circle attack before you can, and then they have punch and kicks and all that kind of stuff. We didn't want to go back to that. We wanted things to be easier, so it's about you want to pull off this special move and you just have to press the button, so that we bring down the technical difficulty for the younger players, which I think nowadays are a lot less exposed to fighting games and whatnot.
Right, and one of the things I really liked about it was the simplicity of it. So if you do have friends coming over and they don't play the game a lot, you just have 3 buttons you have to worry about, which is attack, special move, and trying to dodge out of the way and kind of get to know the enemies a little bit. And one of the other things we noticed in the game was that you have multiple avenues per level to get to the end. So even if I die the first time and I can't restart it, by the second or third time I might go a different way and find a completely different path to a different boss. Is that right?
Yeah, so what's gonna happen is that the game actually allows you to choose the level that you want to go to. The first level that you pick, it will be actually quite short. And when you choose the second level the next time around, the level actually become longer and you might face a different boss at the end of it now. So we wanted the game to have a replayability. So I suppose because the game actually features permadeath, so when you die, you're gonna have to try again perhaps with a different character, and you can try a different route and see which one of them actually works better for you. So in this sense, I don't think you're gonna get bored with the game anytime soon.
Right, and you mentioned that now permadeath is not your typical roguelike permadeath, right? Like I don't have just one chance, and as soon as I die because of a mistake, that's it, game over.
We sort of did that with one of our older game, Bitejacker, which is like Devil's Dare is a spiritual successor to Bitejacker. So in that game, it's a shooter where we actually have this common permadeath mechanic. When you die for good, and you have to like retry from X amount of days back or whatever the case. So in Devil's Dare, we did something different. We actually allows the player to make money, and when you have enough cash on hand, you are able to revive yourself when you die. So in this case, we sort of got the idea from the old arcade when you play and you actually know what you are doing. I'm not sure if you guys remember, like you can actually gain 1-up by playing the game extremely well. So, and if you die, then you have to pay again to revive. So we sort of got the idea from that and we implemented it into our game, so that in this case, you have to use a special move to kill the enemy. And when you do that, you get cash bonus. The cash can be used to either purchase an upgrade at the end of the level, or you can use the cash to actually revive when you die. So depending on how good you do, you can either get upgrades or revive, but at the same time, at the end of the whole thing, the remaining cash that you have, either if you were to defeat the game or if you give up and you game over, the remaining cash that you have is also your score submitted to the leaderboard.
All right. With that, how much time, when you say there's replayability with the game, how much time does it on average does it take to go from the beginning to the end of the game? If I were to sit down with 3 friends and play it, if we were to beat the whole game, how much time do you think it'll be in the first playthrough?
Are you referring to the fact that everybody has tried the game before and understand the basic mechanic?
Yeah, let's go with that.
Okay, if everybody know what they're doing and everybody does not suck at the game, I think it will actually only take you about an hour 15 minutes to an hour 30 minutes.
Perfect. So it's a perfect party game.
Yeah. So that's one of the thing. So that's one of the things that we actually look at. Like we sort of realized that if you were if you bought the game and you're playing it single player, your experience with it is gonna be different from a multiplayer session. So single player mode, you want to sit down and enjoy the game. we realized that players are actually more willing to try after they die. They will change the character that they use and they will take a different route. But we realized that when we were playing multiplayer mode, the players actually stick to the same character and they want to try. A lot of them didn't actually try a different route for the first 2-3 times. So we sort of realized that if you actually manage to get a bunch of friends over to your place to play the game, you don't have that much time. You just want to like have a good time for over maybe 1 or 2 hours, something like that. So we sort of tweak the difficulty such that if you are playing single player mode and if you are playing multiplayer mode, the difficulty level is actually different.
Ray, when now that the game is released, what are your plans for it? Are you planning on doing any DLC for it? Are you looking to expand it at all, or is this done?
So for now, if you start the game, you'll see that there is a coming soon in like below the arcade mode. Was it the arcade mode or was it the story mode? I can't remember. But there is an additional mode that will be coming soon. So we probably want to add a little bit more content to it, but it's going to be free of charge. On top of that, we are actually doing some prototypes for the next game. And one of the prototypes we are working on is like some of the things that we did in this game we weren't very happy about. We want to improve it even further, so we are working on that. So hopefully if the game does well, that a sequel is something that we can look into. There is some of the base mechanic that we want to improve on. There are also other elements that we sort of realized much later that people actually like a lot, and we want to bring it up into a bigger level, and hopefully there is a chance for us to go into all this kind of stuff.
And Devil's Dare is available on Windows, Mac, and Linux right now. Are there any plans? To get this out to our console gamer brethren?
Right now, the game is being made in Unity, so it's actually quite easy for us to bring it to other platforms. So the main thing that is holding us back is the player response. Well, it's not holding us back, but we are hoping to find out what the player think about the game, and if there is enough players that actually want it on the different platform. We are definitely looking at PlayStation 4, and I don't know, maybe other platforms that players want to see the game on. The game is being done in Unity, so it's much easier for us to bring it elsewhere.
No, and the game is fun, guys. Check it out. It's on Steam. The link is at the bottom of the YouTube video. You may have come here from Steam to see what the game is about. It's on sale right now as it's being released, and then after that it will go to full retail price, but I would really recommend it. It's a great party game. It's something you can play with your friends. It's really nice to be able to sit on a couch together and punch the other dude when he's being a dick and taking your kills. But, it works, it's great, and it's a lot of fun. Brian, anything you want to add?
Well, definitely, in this day and age, it's tough to invite people over to your house and play a game and have everyone know what they're doing. This is a game that's not difficult. It's a lot of fun. If you're up for some good laughs and some frustrating times with some of the bosses, check the game out. It's out on Steam, like I said. This is a game that you can buy and you'll play with a group of people, and then the next weekend you have the same people over and they're going to say, hey, can we try that game again? I think we can beat it. So it's a fun game. I recommend it. So definitely support it. And like he said, if we get enough support for it, you're going to see it come out on some different platforms.
So this is a bit like a closing thought or whatever, but like beat 'em up is one of the most popular genre back in the early 90s, I guess, and eventually it fades away. And for us to actually do this, like we are a very small team, and beat 'em up is actually pretty expensive game to make, So I really hope that people that enjoy beat 'em up is willing to give the game another shot. We changed a lot of things that didn't work well in the recent beat 'em up, or rather some of the modern beat 'em up that people were making. And I hope if you enjoy beat 'em up back in the days, you could give it another try. And I think hopefully you will find this to be slightly different from the recent beat 'em up, and actually reminds you of some of the good times you had in the past. So yeah.
if you go to Devil Dare's website, which is www.devilsdare.com, there's a little section in there where you can go to the download area, and they have an actual booklet, like the old. You remember the old Nintendo booklets you used to get when you got the games?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or okay, they have a retro version of that you can get and print out, and it's just like the old Nintendo booklets with all the
Nice.
moves and everything else.
Nice. I'll have to check that out.